In this episode, we're pulling back the curtain on one of history's most unsettling secrets. If dark mysteries, hidden archives, and stories the world tried to erase are your thing, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. New deep dive episodes drop every single week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's step into the shadows and explore the truth behind Unit 731.
In the cold reaches of Manchuria, where winter winds move like whispers across empty fields, there once stood a compound that locals didn't talk about openly, not because they were forbidden to, but because they felt, instinctively, that talking about it might draw its attention. It was a place surrounded by fences that seemed a little too tall, guards who watched a little too closely, and chimneys that smoked long after anyone's lights had gone out. People passing on the road would quicken their steps, as if the air itself grew heavier near the gates. Official maps gave it an innocent name, the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. On paper, it sounded like a public health facility. Boring, predictable, safe. But anyone who lived nearby knew that nothing about the place felt safe. And the deeper mystery was that no one, not even low-ranking soldiers, seemed to know exactly what was happening inside. Behind those walls lay a secret so well guarded that even Japan's own military was kept in the dark. The compound was, in truth, a sprawling research city. Laboratories, barracks, underground tunnels, animal farms, and testing zones, all dedicated to a program known only by a sterile, easily overlooked number, Unit 731. And like any true mystery, this one began with a man named Shiro Ishii, charismatic, brilliant, ambitious, and dangerously convinced he was ahead of his time. Ishii believed that the future of warfare wasn't in bullets or bombs, it was in biology, invisible agents, diseases, plagues. He imagined weapons that could sweep across cities silently, leaving landscapes untouched, but populations devastated. To build such weapons, he argued, Japan needed a facility unlike any other in the world. So Unit 731 grew, quietly, secretly, until it became a self-sufficient kingdom of research, hidden behind layers of official lies. The people brought into this hidden kingdom were never volunteers. They arrived in covered trucks and locked trains, most of them civilians from surrounding villages. Some had been accused of petty crimes, others were taken without explanation. Once inside the compound, they stopped being people in the eyes of the staff. Their names were stripped away. They became numbers. They became maruta, logs, a strange term chosen partly to support the facility's lumber mill cover story, and partly because it allowed those working inside to pretend they were dealing with objects, not human beings. In this atmosphere of secrecy and dehumanization, experiments began. Some were coldly calculated, others strangely improvised, and nearly all of them were designed to answer questions no ethical scientist would dare ask. One of the core mysteries researchers sought to solve was how disease moved, minute by minute, through a living body. To find answers, prisoners were infected with plague, anthrax, cholera, and other pathogens. Researchers observed every detail. The first tremor of fever, the shift in breathing, the pattern of rashes spreading like quiet signals across the skin. No treatments were given. The discovery lay in the decline. And when a prisoner neared the end, or when the researchers wanted to see exactly what was happening inside, they were taken to brightly lit operating rooms for vivisection, without anesthesia, without pause, without anything to soften the line between scientific ambition and unimaginable cruelty. For those performing the procedures, the focus was always on the next data point, the next observation, the next note to scribble in a logbook. Beyond disease, Ishii's team sought to understand the mysteries of the environment. Manchuria's brutal winters made the region a perfect setting for cold weather experiments. Prisoners were taken outside to face sub-zero temperatures until their limbs froze solid. Researchers tapped the frozen skin with sticks, a simple, eerie test to confirm the ice had fully formed inside. Then came thawing trials, each method recorded with methodical calm. The results were compared, debated, refined, as if the suffering involved were some distant abstraction. And the mysteries didn't stop at the compound's edge. Unit 731 was a testing ground for weapons, grenades, flamethrowers, pressure chambers, and also a launch point for biological agents. Fleas infected with plague were packed into ceramic bombs and dropped over rural areas. Wells were secretly contaminated. Entire villages fell ill, seemingly out of nowhere. Locals blamed water, weather, or fate. They never imagined that the source was a laboratory hidden beyond their fields. What makes Unit 731 especially chilling is not only what happened inside, but how completely the program tried to erase itself when the end of the war approached. As Soviet forces moved closer in 1945, the compound shifted from a hive of experimentation to a frantic scene of destruction. Documents were burned in huge quantities. Buildings were blown up. Prisoners were executed to prevent testimony. Staff members were ordered to reveal nothing. Even in its final days, Unit 731 tried to hide in darkness. When the Soviets arrived, they found remnants, buildings not fully destroyed, tunnels still intact, strange equipment, and fragments of records that survived the flames. Slowly, over years, these fragments formed a clearer picture of what had taken place, but the full story remained partly obscured, one of the few wartime mysteries that historians are still piecing together today. After the war, many expected its leaders to stand trial. But then the Cold War arrived, bringing with it new priorities and new rivalries. The United States became interested in the data gathered at Unit 731, seeing potential military value. In exchange for the research, key figures, including Ishii, were granted immunity. The secrecy surrounding the program deepened, and for decades, official acknowledgement in Japan was sparse, incomplete, or avoided entirely. But secrets have a way of resurfacing. Gradually, testimonies from former staff, villagers, and surviving family members emerged. Historians dug into archives, museums were established, and the story that had once been erased began to reappear, piece by piece, like a photograph developing in a dark room. Today, Unit 731 stands as both a historical fact and a lingering mystery, one that raises uncomfortable questions about science, loyalty, ambition, and the boundaries people are willing to cross when convinced their cause is greater than the lives before them. It reminds us that even the most ordinary words, research, prevention, purification, can hide extraordinary darkness when placed in the wrong hands. The victims of Unit 731 left behind no diaries, no personal accounts, no monuments bearing their names, but the historical record that researchers have reconstructed now speaks for them, ensuring that the silence surrounding what happened in those frozen corridors is no longer absolute, because some secrets can be buried, but not forever.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe for more weekly dark history stories. I appreciate you being here.